Hi, I'm Nikita.
And I'm Lena.
We're two best friends with endless curiosity and plenty to say.
Join us as we dive into everything and anything life throws our way.
From hilarious stories and pop culture hot takes to life lessons and deep dives, no topic is off limits. Whether you're looking for a laugh, a new perspective, or just some fun company, this podcast feels like a chat with your bestie.
Get ready for unfiltered conversations, lots of laughs, and a whole lot of heart.
This is Two Voices, One Vibe. All right, so are we ready now?
We're ready. Let's do it.
On your mark.
Get set.
Go.
Welcome back to Two Voices.
One Vibe. I'm Nikita.
And I'm Lena.
And we are back for another episode of Shenanigans.
I don't know who's more excited. You, me, or them.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Ooh, you need to move this cup out of...
Oh.
We have a second video camera set up. And
clearly, I'm new at this.
Lena's cup was literally right in front of it and blocking the view.
There's only iced tea in the cup, though, so in case anybody's concerned about what's in the cup, 2 girls, 1 cup.
Are you sure it's just iced tea and it's not iced tea laced with vodka or tequila?
No, it's just iced tea. No, if you guys really want to see crazy, we'll do a drunken podcast.
Oh my god.
Who's in?
I'm in.
You in? Terrible idea?
I'm in. How was your week?
My week was good. I had a pretty eventful week. I had a lot going on this week.
Oh, what was the... Okay.
Yes.
Let's do a Kardashian moment. Peak and pit of your week.
Oh.
You want to start with the peak or the pit?
Let's go with the peak.
Okay, go.
Okay, so peak of my week. Ooh, I like that. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. Okay, so peak of my week was I got to meet Mr. New Year's kids.
Oh!
Yeah.
How'd that go? So now you would have met all 3 of them?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
How'd that go?
It actually went really amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of nervous about it.
Okay.
And as I was driving to his house, I had texted him and I was like, I'm a little nervous. I'm like, I'm mostly excited, but I'm a little nervous. And he's like, well, if it makes you feel any better, he's like, my son has been getting ready for the last hour. He comes downstairs, hair done, and asks me what I think about his outfit.
How old
is
his son?
He's 15.
Okay.
So he's going to be 16 in April. So he's like, I thought you were staying for dinner. Where are you going? And he's like, I am staying for dinner. And he's like, well, what are you getting dressed up for? And he's like, well, Dad, you only have one chance to make a great first impression.
Oh.
So is that turn around and he's like, which one of us do you think she's dating, bro? Like, so that made me feel so much better when I read that text.
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
That's
I feel
cute.
better. Yeah. So it was really cute. I got there and I had made a tray of deviled eggs because him and his son...
Oh, can we talk about this?
About my deviled eggs?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Yes! I forgot about this. Yes.
So...
Oh, Lord almighty.
The shenanigans and the text messages of you making your deviled eggs.
I think that our listeners and viewers need to know that you and I both despise grocery shopping.
Oh, with a fucking passion.
We hate it so much that we just don't do it.
Yeah,
right?
To the point where we do shop right from home, and I even despise going and picking up my groceries.
Yeah. I feel like grocery shopping is the most inefficient process ever.
100% agree.
You're grabbing an item from the shelf, you're putting it in the cart, then you're putting it from your cart onto the conveyor belt, then you're putting it from the conveyor belt into a bag, then you're putting the bag into the cart,
and
then
now
you're putting the bag into your trunk, then you're taking the bag and you're bringing it to your counter, and then you're taking the item and you're putting it into the fridge. Like, how many times do I have to touch the fucking Cholula? We're getting somewhere with the hot sauce, people. We're getting somewhere.
Cholula is the main topic. And now, in Jersey, we don't have grocery bags anymore. We have these stupid reusable bags that I always forget.
We're not allowed to use plastic bags, but we can use plastic straws. We can use plastic water bottles. We can use plastic
cups.
Everything else. But
speaking of a plastic cup.
Yeah. But the plastic bags are going to save the turtles or someone's life. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's ridiculous.
Anyway, continue about the Cholula.
So yes, so we hate grocery shopping.
Yes.
We do shop right from home orders. We pick up our groceries. So this day, he sprung it on me that day.
Yes.
So we had plans to see each other that day. He picked up an overtime shift at work and said...
Wait. This was Monday, right?
This was Monday, yeah.
So, no. You were supposed to have my kids on Monday.
Yes.
And then I was going to work Monday, and then my job wound up closing Monday because of the snow.
Right.
So then
you had your
Sunday,
kids.
I told you Sunday.
Right.
So Sunday, you knew you were going to his house, didn't you?
No, I knew we were going to hang out.
Oh, okay.
I did not know I was going to meet his kids.
Okay.
So it wasn't until Monday I called him because I slept in Monday. You know,
Yeah.
I love my sleep. I need my beauty sleep.
Some
So
of us don't.
I had slept in. I called him when I got up, and he was like, I had good news and bad news. And I'm like, well, what's up? And he's like, well, the good news is I can't wait to see you today. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see you too. And
Aw,
he's like,
you make me sick.
yeah, it's so sweet. That's so sweet. He's like, the bad news is, he's like, I picked up an overtime shift at work. He's like, but I'll be done by 4. I'm like, oh, well, that's not bad news. That's not a big deal at all.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, you know, I was thinking, why don't you maybe come up to my house and meet the kids today?
Okay.
And I was like, but I didn't make the noise because I didn't want him to know that I semi-freaked out inside. And I'm like, no, that'd be great because I have been looking forward to meeting them. And I was a little nervous about it.
We were freaking out inside.
I was freaking out inside, yeah. So I immediately was like, what do I do? Where do I go? What do I bring? What do
And that's
I wear?
when you asked me, what do
Yes.
I bring? And I was like, you bring dessert.
Yes.
That's what you bring. You bring dessert.
And then I thought, oh, well, I can bring appetizers too. And I know that him and his son are on this like protein kick.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're like dieting and running and trying to like get into their summer shape.
Because summer bods are made in the winter.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have the house down the shore.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're always outside and they're always doing things. So I'm like, I'm going to make deviled eggs because that's like my infamous appetizer. Anywhere I go, if I don't bring it, it's like, why did you not make your deviled eggs? You hate us? Yeah. So I made the deviled eggs. And when I started making them, I realized, oh my gosh, I need dill, I need chives, I need, you know, a couple different things. So I ended up running out to the grocery store, which I never do. Turns out, Target, they don't carry fresh dill.
Yep.
Not a thing.
We learned that.
Aldi, no dill.
Learned that.
Lidl, also no dill.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time that I made it to ShopRite, my 4th grocery store of the day, right, which I was not happy about.
Yeah.
I'm like, all I was running out for was dill and chives. 2 things to make eggs.
Yeah.
4 grocery stores. So I grab what I need, I come home, and I had already boiled the eggs and peeled them and everything. So now I'm putting everything together, and I go to grab my Cholula hot sauce from the fridge. And I realized the last time I made deviled eggs was for Christmas Eve, and I made them at my parents' house, and I brought the Cholula, and I left it there.
Dun, dun, dun.
So at that point, I text you, and I'm like, what do I do? Do I run out to a 5th grocery store of the day?
Yep.
So I was looking at the time, and I'm like, you know what? I have time. It's not totally essential, but I make really good deviled eggs, and I don't want the first time that I make something and meet the kids to be crappy. I'm like, you know what? I put in the effort. He puts in a lot of effort, right?
Yes.
So I need to put in the effort. I said, I'm going to go. So I ran out to Stop and Shop. So that is the 5th grocery store in one day.
Which worked out really well for me because
You need roast beef.
I needed roast beef because
Yeah.
my ShopRite from homeowner, they were out of stock of roast beef. And
Yeah.
you're like, I'm at Stop and Shop. I'm like, roast beef.
Yeah, and you were like, no substitutions. So
Yeah.
yeah. So okay. I run back out to the 5th grocery store of the day. I grab the Cholula. I come back. I'm like, all right, everything's great. I'm going to make this. Once I finish making this, I'm going to jump in the shower so I don't smell like egg. And I'm going to, you know, throw on some makeup and an outfit, and I'm going to leave.
Yep.
Well, the plot thickens.
Oh.
So I take the plastic wrap off of the Cholula,
Oh. Yeah.
and then I go to open the little wooden nubby cap.
Can't get it off.
No, it would not open. I was so fucking mad because this is the story of my life. I have always said, if I didn't have bad luck, I would have no luck. Right? This is my life. This is par for the course. I got so frustrated to the point that I started Googling, how do you open a Cholula bottle?
And then you sent me a TikTok.
And then I found a TikTok about some woman who was going through the same thing as me, and she's like, it's my favorite hot sauce, I need to open the bottle. So it got to a point that I was ready to take the bottle and just crack it, like smash it open, and then strain it so I wouldn't get any glass in it, and then just take, all I needed was like fucking 5 drops of hot sauce, that's all, but it was like liquid gold at that point because you needed it and you just couldn't have it. So after all was said and done, after 5 grocery store trips, I still didn't have the Cholula, and I had to use a little bit of cayenne pepper. But it was great, because when Mr. New Year's took the first bite, he was like, oh, this is really good. I said, whoa, there's a kick. And I'm like, there's also a story behind it. So as he's mid-bite of his first deviled egg, I take the Cholula out of the bag, and I'm like, can you please open this for me? And he's like, for what? You're going to put that on the eggs? And I'm like, no, I was trying to put it in the eggs, but I couldn't open it. And I just need you to open it. So it did take him some effort to open it. He got it open.
Okay.
And then, of course, when he opened it, I was like, well, that's because I loosened it up for you.
Of course.
But yeah, but it did open. I do have an open bottle of Cholula in my fridge now for next time.
Did you? Well, I know you stopped at your mom's this week too. Did you bring the Cholula from your mom's home?
No, I didn't, because then what am I going to do with 2 bottles of Cholula?
Never run out.
You know? Yeah. Well, and I don't put hot sauce on anything. Like, I'm not like a big spicy person.
Frank's Red
you
Hot.
know?
I put that shit on everything.
Yeah, no, not me. See, I like
What?
white girl spicy. Like, I don't like, you know.
Speaking of, my boyfriend and I got out to a Thai restaurant.
Yeah.
And my boyfriend loves spicy. Like, loves spicy.
Not me.
The hotter the better for him. So we went to a Thai restaurant, and it was like a scale of like 1 to 5, 5 being Thai hot.
Yeah.
So apparently, I wasn't with him. He was with somebody else, and he was telling me the story that the waitress was like, you know, do you want it hot? And he's like, not Thai hot, like white people hot.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
That's how I feel, because there's different levels of hot. Like, you have people that might be from, like, Indonesia, and they're used to having their cuisine being really spicy. I like heat in my food when it adds flavor and it adds a kick. I don't like heat just for the sake of it being spicy and burning my mouth on fire. Yeah, that's not my jam. I think eating should be a pleasurable experience, not a painful one.
I agree.
You know? I feel like there's different pain and thresholds for different activities in your life. Eating should not be a painful one.
No, I get it.
You know?
Yeah.
Same thing, like, when people order spicy margaritas. Nope. Why?
I don't like spicy margaritas.
No.
I love
want
margaritas,
it to burn when it's going down.
Yeah.
You know?
Although, I have had, like, jalapeno margaritas, and I have had spicy margaritas that weren't bad, but they weren't,
They also weren't good.
No. It wasn't that they weren't good. They weren't, like, overly spicy where it wasn't enjoyable.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I like to enjoy my food and my drink.
Yeah.
So that was my crazy deviled egg story.
That was so funny. What'd you wind up bringing for
later.
dessert?
So I wound up bringing Crumbl cookies. Thanks,
You did.
Nikita.
You're welcome.
So at first I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to bring for dessert? Should I just pick up like a cake from a bakery? And you're like, oh, well, like, you should just bake something. And I'm like, yeah, because I have time to bake something. I learned like half an hour ago that I'm going to meet his kids in like 4 hours, and now I'm going to be Betty fucking Crocker. I'm like, I don't have time for this. Plus 5 grocery trips later.
Yeah.
So we
also didn't know you were going to be doing 5 grocery trips.
We did not know this was going to be. However, so this was the day, so the snowstorm was Sunday, and then Monday was the holiday, but obviously the stores were still open.
Yeah.
But when I got there, I guess maybe people had called out, or they didn't have enough time to clean the parking lot, so there was like a handwritten sign on the door that says we're opening at noon today.
Oh, okay.
And I got there and it was like 11:08, and I'm like, motherfuckers, I have to kill 52 minutes. How am I going to kill 52 minutes?
Well, we found ways for you to kill 52
5
minutes.
grocery stores, right? That's how that happened.
And were the cookies a hit?
Oh, the cookies were a hit. Yeah, they loved them. They were actually taking pictures of the cookies and texting them to their older sister who's in college, and texting them to their friends who were all like jonesing for Crumbl.
Yeah.
I walked into the store and it smelled fucking delicious.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to eat all the things, and I couldn't eat any of the
die.
things. I was like, do you guys have any gluten-free cookies?
Nope.
Like, no, I'm so sorry, we don't. I'm like, not even like one? Like, just a chocolate chip cookie?
I don't know that they'd be able to safely make it without cross-contamination.
But I feel like some bakeries do it. Like, there's a bakery by my office in the city, and they only have one type of cookie that's gluten-free, but my God, is it delicious. It's like $8. I don't care if it was $18.
Yeah.
It's so freaking good.
I
And the
don't
fact
know. I
that
know
being able
nothing
to
about that.
walk in and have something homemade that's gluten-free, you don't get to do that every day. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I get it.
So that was a huge hit. And then I actually stopped at Target as well, and I picked up one of those unsolved case file games.
Yes.
And then I picked up a medical mysteries one. So his middle daughter is into kind of like the medical field, but she kind of wants to go to school to do something in that arena. And then his son is kind of more into like the cold case, murder mystery kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
So I picked up one of each game, and so we ate. He cooked for us, and we played games, and the kids had cookies, and we actually had a really great time. It was really good to meet the kids. They were just super normal and down to earth and very well adjusted. Sometimes you're kind of like worried about meeting somebody else's kids because you don't know how they feel about like, are you going to take my dad from me? Are you going to try to be my mom? Yeah, and they're older. So again, it could be a tough crowd. You have a 15-year-old boy and a 17-year-old girl. Yeah. And it's kind of like, oh, this could be dicey. This could go either way. Yeah. But it went really well. So.
Good. Oh, I'm glad. Yeah. I'm happy for you.
So now we have like a lot of the major milestones. So now he's like, I want to meet your dad. And I'm like, okay. So that's next on the list.
Yeah. When you sent me a text message and you're like, he wants to meet my dad and talk to him. I'm like, no. Not yet. We're gonna pump the brakes. Yeah. Slow down. Slow your roll.
Conversation for another day.
Yeah.
So he wants to meet my dad. So,
which, it's nice that he wants to meet your parents, but...
I love that. And you know what? I think, too, that that's something that you don't see every day with American men.
No.
And,
and he's not an American man.
And as a first-generation American and growing up and seeing that culture and that being the right thing to do according to the way that I was raised, right? Not judging anybody else for how they were raised, but that's the way that I was raised. You walk into somebody's house, you say hello to everybody. You say please, you say thank you, you introduce yourself, So the fact that he has made such a big deal, I can't honestly say that I've ever dated another man who has come right out and said, can you set something up so I can meet your dad? Like, what? That's crazy to me. So he's actually met my mom before. So that part's out of the way. So now he wants to meet my dad. So
that's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was your peak, which I can see how that was a peak, but I really didn't think that was going to be your peak. But that's
you
okay.
didn't think so?
No, and I'll tell you what I thought your peak was going to be in a
Okay.
minute. But I'm very, very happy for you because I know that
Thank
was...
you.
But I actually thought...
Go for it.
So superficial compared to what your peak actually was.
Oh!
Do you know where I'm going with this?
I
thought-
don't have a clue what you could possibly
as you play with your hair.
talking about, Nikita.
Yeah, so I thought your peak was going to be your second row of
my luscious
extensions
locks. Do
from
you love
Lily.
them?
No, not Lily. What was
Lily
her
and
name?
Lulu?
Was her name Lily?
Lily.
Oh, I was right. It was
Yeah.
Lily. Yeah.
Yeah, Lily.
I thought that was going to be your peak, but
Yeah.
I do like your peak. Your peak was good.
So yeah, I did have a little mishap on my vacation where I was using the mineral sunscreen. I was not really like dunking in chlorine or the salt water.
I
or
was actually
anything.
thinking about this. I think the next time you go on vacation, you should bring a travel container with some purple shampoo.
Yeah, I think that's probably a really good idea.
Yeah. Sorry,
Um,
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, all good. Basically, my hair turned orange with tinges of pink,
Right.
which was really interesting and not very flattering at all. So I totally freaked out, and I text our hair girl.
Yes.
And I was like, Houston, we have a problem. I'm like, I need new hair. So she actually ordered a new row of hair for me to replace my discolored hair. And then when I got back home, I started Googling it, and I saw this video on TikTok
Yeah.
that was recommending the Malibu C
Right.
crystal packets.
Right. And you tried it.
And then I tried it. I did it twice, and it actually really helped to color
Yeah.
correct the faux pas that we had.
So I think you either bring that with you or just bring some purple shampoo.
Yeah.
And like halfway through your vacation.
For sure. I think that's definitely necessary. But at that point, I had already ordered and paid for new hair.
Yeah.
And my hair was a good color, and I just ordered it. It was new. So I was like, do you think maybe like you have time to try 2 rows of hair this time? So, and we have a couple events coming up that, you know, we're kind of like doing galas, and they're
Yeah.
more like wedding formal type things, events. So I'm like, it wouldn't hurt to have
This just
extra
makes
hair.
me so happy because I've been on your case about 2
Yeah,
rows too
yeah.
for a couple weeks now.
So like, I freaking love it. I could not be happier. And this is what my hair used to look like
Yeah.
back in the day. So it makes me feel just like myself. And I know some people might be like, wow, that's so vain. I can't believe you would do that. Who would do that? I would do it. Because you know what? It makes me feel good. And it
I
makes
have
me
2
feel
rows of
better.
extensions.
Yeah. So whatever. I always say I'm a JFZ. I am a judgment-free zone.
Absolutely,
You know? However you
100%.
want to live your life. I'm not asking you to pay for it. So
Yep.
what does it matter to you?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we have your peak, what was
Yeah.
your pit of the week?
Okay. So my pit of the week, it actually started with a peak and turned into a pit.
Oh.
But then it turned into a peak again because I was in control of the situation. So,
okay.
Good story. So I know we haven't really got into this yet. I am suing my ex.
Wow, I was not expecting that to come out, but okay, I'm here for it.
Yes. So my ex and I were actually moving in together.
Yes.
And that's when I discovered things about his life
Yes.
that were not going to coincide with mine.
Absolutely, 100%.
Now, when he was moving in with me, we had consulted with a realtor. The realtor came and did a walk of his house and basically said there were certain things that he needed to do to bring it up to code to sell the house. And he said, I don't have the money to make those changes, and basically asked to borrow money from me and said, when I sell my house and I get the money from the sale of the house, I'll pay you back.
Right.
Of course, it's a no-brainer. Like,
Right.
we're moving in together. We're going to build our lives together. So I lent him this money, and it is a substantial amount of money. So when we had split up, he basically said, I'm not paying you a dime. But I had already had things in writing, text message, and emails
Yes.
prior where he had already agreed to pay this money back. So I did retain an attorney who specializes in collections. And
So proud of you.
thank you. And on Friday, I got the notice that they put him on notice that he has whatever, I think it's like 30 days or so to acknowledge and make a payment plan. Otherwise, he's going to be sued.
Right.
So when they sent that out on Friday, I guess they overnighted this probably certified mail, or I don't know if they actually need to serve him and he needs to sign the paperwork. So he either got it Saturday, or if he didn't get it Saturday, I think Monday was the holiday, he would have gotten it on Tuesday.
Right.
So that was a good peak. And then the very next day, what are the chances? I get a text message from one of his best friends.
Let me pull them up.
And I have not spoken to his friend in probably about 3 or 4 months.
Yep.
And he just kind of texted me. He was just like, hey, how are you doing? And I'm like, is it a complete coincidence?
Yeah, you texted me.
Yeah, I said, chances that Fruitcake's friend texts me today out of genuine interest in how I'm doing since we haven't spoken since October, or is it funny, the timing, since Fruitcake must have just received the collections letter?
And my response was, I say you ignore him, block him, don't engage.
Yeah, that was your really good advice.
I know, yeah. I always have good advice.
But I'm a nice person, and he asked how I was doing. It's not like he said, you know, I think you guys should get back together, or why are you suing him, you know? So...
And I was coming at it from total outsider perspective.
Yeah.
Knowing that you had told me that the paperwork that we thought that he got served, because we found out about this.
Yeah.
So my immediate thought, as I dropped my foot, my immediate thought was, he's digging.
Yeah.
That's why I had said, don't engage, block.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So basically, I had texted him back and I said, you know, it's a small world because I had been driving to work that morning and I passed the airport and I used to drop him off at the airport because he worked out of the airport. So some days when I would go in the office, I would drop him off. So I had literally thought about it this morning. I'm like, hey, I wonder how him and his wife are doing. And he had texted me that day. So I told him, I said, really strange. I actually thought about you this morning. You must have ESP. You know, how are you and your wife? How's everything? So he had texted me back and said that, you know, they had found some termites in the house and, you know, everything's good, but they have some construction going on. He sent me a picture of the madness in the construction. So, you know, I told him I was really sorry to hear that. And I remember what it's like living in a construction zone because I had flipped my house and I did all the work myself. Then out of nowhere, his response to me was, are you dating anyone now? And I was like...
And I respond... with, he's digging. He has no real reason to talk to you in any other reason other than to dig for information.
Yeah.
Because of what happened with Fruitcake.
So then my response was, yep, not even a transition. Mm-hmm. That was stupid. Mm-hmm. And now that warrants zero response.
Yep.
And so I didn't reply to him.
Yep.
Because that was totally uncalled for. However, I think it was kind of funny because after this had transpired, you and I had come up with a million different responses that we could have sent him.
Yes.
That would have been great.
Yes.
So my first one was thinking about replying back to him and saying, you know, I don't think that your wife would appreciate your advances towards me.
Yeah.
I thought that would be funny, kind of making it seem like he wanted to date me.
Yes.
But I didn't say anything.
And then you also thought about saying that you had met the most wonderful man.
Yes. Of my life, and I've never been so happy, and I never thought such a wonderful man existed.
Yep.
But I also don't want to give them any information or access to my life
100%.
that they don't need.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? I don't want them in my life.
Yeah, and you don't need that. You don't need anybody from your past who brought any bad juju in.
Oh, absolutely.
So then I had said, well, you could have really fucked with them and said, well, yes, actually, my girlfriend and I are doing very good.
Yeah.
And we're very happy together.
Yeah. But then I'm like, oh my God, they would have both busted out at that point.
Yeah.
They would have been so excited and they'd be like, girlfriend, send pics. Yeah. You know? So that all happened. And then I was thinking about saying, you know, well, am I dating anyone? I'm dating everyone, just like Fruitcake was, you know? I took a page out of his book, you know? So I'm dating all the people. So I thought about that too. And then I also thought about responding to him and saying, you know, I'm sorry, but you're married and I can't do that to your wife. Even though I've never met your wife, I can't do that. But I can't say I haven't thought about it though. And like send a little winky face and like make them all feel really uncomfortable because if he's with Fruitcake and Fruitcake saw that response, he's like, you wanted to fuck my friend?
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh my God, I think they'd actually get into a fight, right? Like knowing that it had nothing to do with his friend and I sent the response, I think he would be so mad if I actually said I wanted to fuck his friend, which I didn't, but it would just be a funny response.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we spent a few text message exchanges going back and forth about what we could have said.
Yeah.
But you know what? At the end of the day, yes, I have met the most amazing man.
100%.
And no, it's not any of their business. And I have no problem telling anybody in my life, you've met him. Mm-hmm. My mom has met him. You know, some of my other friends have met him. I went out and I met his friends Thursday night. We went out for his friend's birthday. Tonight I'm going to an event with him. So we're absolutely 100% involving each other in each other's lives. It's not like we're hiding it from anyone.
No, 100%.
But I also don't see any need to have any of our exes involved.
100%.
Speaking of which...
Yes, do tell.
So what are the chances? Okay, so we went out Thursday for his friend's birthday, kind of at their, you know, local dive bar where they all hang out. And I met a bunch of his friends, and some of them I had met before, because like I said, you know, we'd been seeing each other for a while. And this woman comes over to me, And she's like, I just have to tell you. She's like, I just texted my best friend and I just told her that Mr. New Year's just walked into this bar with the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, oh my God, that was so sweet. And like, she gives me a hug and a kiss and she tells me her name and introduces herself. And then she proceeds to tell me what a wonderful man he is. And I'm like, yeah, no, I know he's pretty wonderful. And, she tells me this story about how she had gotten snowed in at a lake house with a bunch of her girlfriends, and she reached out to him and was like, how are we going to be able to get out of here? And he jumped in his truck and he went and picked up her and her friends and made sure they got home safe. And I'm like, wow, that was really nice of him, And she's telling me all these great things. And then she proceeds to tell me, oh, my best friend who I was texting about you, she just got here. Oh, and by the way, she's his ex-girlfriend. And walks away from me.
Wait, what?
So it happened just like that. So,
and by the way, she's his ex-girlfriend.
So I'm like, okay, shit starter. So
there's always one.
Right?
There's always one.
So as soon as she had walked away, I was going next to Mr. New Year's, and he kind of pulled me aside and he was like, babe, he's like, I was just talking to my friend, and he said, if you want your relationship with your girl to last, you better keep her away from her because she's a train wreck, she's a hot mess, and she's just going to cause drama. And I was like,
shit starter.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, like the drama of her just letting me know that your ex-girlfriend just walked in. And he's like, babe, he's like, I wanted to tell you. He's like, I didn't know she was going to show up. I was like, no, I'm not upset with you. Like, I'm not upset about the situation. I don't even feel weird about it. This happened so long ago. And even if it happened yesterday, I don't care. You're here with me now. Right. And I trust you. You trust me. And it is what it is. But he's like, that was my information to share with you, not her information to share with you. He's like, I did not know she was going to be here. Even if I thought there was a possibility that she was going to be here, I would have told you. He's like, I had no idea. And I'm like, babe, it's cool. I'm good with it. Mm-hmm. So our social circles ended up kind of crossing paths later that night. And I was talking to her. And so we were kind of chit-chatting and, just kind of came up with like, what do you do for a living? So she says, I do Botox. So I was kind of looking at her face and I was like, oh, that makes sense. I didn't say it out loud. I thought it. And then she's like, yeah. She's like, oh my God. She's like, you should totally come to my work and I'll do your Botox for free.
First of all, that's pretty presumptuous of her to
Right. Are you saying that I need Botox?
Right. I mean, there's no need for that.
Right?
Yeah. So
I was like, it was almost like a backhanded compliment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, thank you so much. And then so she proceeds to tell me, anytime you want, you can come, I'll take care of you, we could just put a little bit in here, you need a little bit here, and it'll be great. And so I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. So I find my way out of that conversation, and I walk over to him, and I'm like, guess what I'm doing next week? And he's like, what? And I was like, I'm going to your ex-girlfriend's job, and she's going to do my Botox for free. And he turned around, and he was like, I will pay for your Botox before I ever let her touch your face. You were not going out. And I was like, I was just kidding with you. Like, I was not actually going to go to her to have my Botox done. But I just thought, the whole conversation was funny. And he wanted to make sure I was comfortable and I was okay, which is the way he is. And I'm like, I'm totally fine. I don't care that she's here. I'm here with you. You're here with me. If you wanted to be here with her, you would have been, and you're not.
Right.
But
that's so funny.
What are the chances? Like, again, this is my life. This would never happen to anybody else, anywhere, ever.
It's a prime example of shit that only happens to you.
Yeah, welcome to Lena. And this is why I told him, like, when he really wanted to get serious and I was like, no, and I was pumping the brakes, I kept telling him, like, you don't understand what my life is like. And see, now he's part of it. Now we start dating and all of a sudden his ex-girlfriend starts showing up in places. It's me. What is the common denominator in the crazy? Hi, I'm the problem, it's me. Yeah. Okay. All right. We can't get copyrighted, Nikita.
I know.
She's always making me stop singing. Why are you trying to silence me? You cannot control my narrative.
Are you done?
Let me speak. No, I'm going to be done when I'm done, not when you say I'm done, okay?
I didn't say you're done. I said,
I'm
are
done
you
now.
done?
No, I'm done now.
Are you sure?
I love you.
I love you too.
Oh, my Nikita.
Yeah. So let's flip the switch here.
Okay.
And talk about something serious. And we haven't brought this up.
You ready?
Okay.
Why so serious?
I can't.
Okay.
No, but on a serious note, this is something that's been going on, God, it's got to be about 2 weeks now. The fires out in California. And they've been devastating. And I know, without going into detail of what your job entails, but I know you've been indirectly impacted by it for work.
Yeah.
I'm speechless. My boyfriend has a friend who lives out in California, and we've been checking on him, and thankfully he's okay. And I know it's devastating what has happened out there.
It's really awful, and I think a lot of this could have been prevented, if not entirely. I think the extent to which the devastation has occurred, I know that they actually cut the fire department's funding.
I heard about that.
They actually stopped having controlled fires, which they had done in the past. They said it was too dangerous. And never had a controlled fire ever gotten out of control or become uncontrolled.
Right.
And especially to where it's led now. I think there was just
do we know what started it yet?
I think it was between not having the controlled fires to take care of like the dry areas of brush, so the environment to breed fires. You know, kind of like Smokey the Bear that tells you the different levels of fire danger. I think the level of fire danger was so high because they hadn't had the controlled fires.
Oh, okay.
In addition to that, the wind that was coming down.
The Santa Ana winds.
Yes, exactly. So I think it was just kind of the perfect storm where everything kind of just collided at once. Again, they had cut the fire department budget. They actually ran out of water.
You know, I heard about
fight the fires.
That's insane.
The government, and not to get into politics whatsoever, didn't call the National Guard until 24 hours later.
Yeah.
They didn't have a way to contain them, and the fires just kept popping up in different areas.
Yeah.
So it was really awful. I handle a lot of the crisis management piece at work. So I was working hand in hand with our counterparts, you know, at headquarters, with our teams that are out on the West Coast, our teams here on the East Coast that have teams on the West Coast. And we did have a number of employees in our company that lost their home, that lost their pets, that their parents were in ICU. So we were kind of working around the clock to be able to get air scrubbers to the area to help improve air quality, to get the appropriate masks to help from the wildfire smoke inhalation, and just kind of do whatever we can to help, you know, with the aftermath of what everybody was dealing with. And it's really sad. I also have friends that live out there. I, you know, checked in with everybody I'd spoken to, and you know, the area that really got hit, you see on the news, there was a lot of celebrities that lost their homes because it was a very upscale, ritzy
100%,
area. So a lot of these homes were in excess of, you know, $3, $4, $5 million. There were, you know, over, I think, 15 or 20,000 structures. So whether it was buildings, hotels, homes, businesses that were just completely lost, demolished, malls, stores, it's sad. And so many icons of the area. So like iconic restaurants and landmarks and things of that nature. So, you know, my heart goes out to everybody in the Southern California area that's been impacted by it. And I hope that they're able to recover. I know they've been working with different engineers to figure out how to rebuild those areas.
Well, and the fires aren't even out yet.
Yeah, they're still
burning.
And new fires are still popping up. As of 3 days ago, they just had a new fire pop up.
Yeah.
So I know that they're making a lot of progress in containing the fires at this point, but, you know,
I wonder how much longer
out.
they'll burn for. Like, I mean, I know there's no way of telling, obviously, but it's just, I can't, you know, I don't know if you want to call this a natural disaster. I don't know how natural of a disaster this is, but for all intents and purposes, it is. Like, I don't, other than 9/11, which wasn't a natural disaster. Let's be real. 9/11 was not a natural disaster. That's the closest thing that I have lived through and been a part of, so to speak. You know what I mean?
So we've had a couple things with water, right? So Hurricane Katrina, that was
that's
New Orleans
true.
area.
Which
we've had Sandy.
Sandy hit, yes.
That had a lot of devastation.
Sandy was very devastating.
Yeah.
For our area.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think you really had any impact with that, but I had a tree land on my house.
Yeah, my basement flooded.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah, I had all of my daughter's baby things in the basement. We lost everything, all of our Christmas ornaments and things.
But even that, and I'm not saying that's not disastrous.
But that's nothing.
But it's
in comparison.
nothing. Exactly. Like it's my house stood through Sandy. I mean, I had a tree fall on my house. My garage came down. Whatever, minor problems compared to what's going on out there.
I actually remember after Hurricane Sandy taking my daughter down to Seaside Heights and seeing the roller coaster in the ocean. You know, we have a picture of that. So that was pretty crazy to kind of see that. But yeah, in terms of wildfires, this is absolutely the most catastrophic, you know, thing that the area has witnessed. And, you know, over 25 people died. It's really sad. And, you know, sometimes people don't take it as seriously when they issue an evacuation order and say, you need to get out of here. And people think, I'm going to be fine. And you're not going to be fine. And then by the time you realize I'm not okay and I need to leave, late. And then you go back and you say, well, I'm going to bring my pets. And they say, no, you can't. You know, or I'm going to bring my things. No, you can't. And maybe had you heeded that warning beforehand, we would have been able to, you know, get out of there safely with all of our loved ones and our most important valuables. But I don't want to say, I hope it's a lesson learned, because I don't think that that's the appropriate thing to say, but moving forward, I hope people take things more seriously when things like this happen, because it's so sad. It's heartbreaking, and I was in tears watching the news about what was going on and working with, my coworkers to try to get help to people in that area. We banned travel to the area. We couldn't really have anybody going in or out, but we had 15 travelers who were traveling in that area that we needed to help get out of that area as well.
Did they all make it out okay?
Yeah, they did. So my heart goes out to everybody who's been affected by it, and you continue to remain in my prayers. And I know they're saying that it may take upwards of 5 years to completely rebuild.
Is that what they're saying?
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's 2030 at this point.
Yeah. So it's definitely been a really interesting start to the new year.
Has it ever?
Right?
It's really been a wild start.
Yeah.
And it's only the end of January
right?
as we record this.
Yeah. We're only like 3.5 weeks in.
God.
Can only go up from here, right?
Yeah.
It's not a challenge. Whoever was listening to me, that was like a half funny rhetorical question, not a challenge.
My bad. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to talk about that I stumbled upon this week was I was scrolling Facebook.
You? Scrolling?
Imagine that.
Doom scrolling?
Oh, it's my favorite pastime.
I don't even know who you are.
Yeah. So I was doom scrolling Facebook, and I came across a People article, and I'm going to read the headline. It says, "Woman buys antique cabinet on Facebook Marketplace. She couldn't believe what she found when she opened it. Exclusive." So I opened this link, and I'm reading it. And it goes on to say that this woman bought a 8-foot long antique marble top buffet. And she opens it and finds boxes of Hermes things. Winds up being China.
Yeah.
And she did the absolute right thing, at least as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And she contacted the people that she bought this thing from and said, "Hey, this was in here." And she gave it back. And I was like, wow, first of all, that is something I would do, because, I mean,
it's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do, but how many people out there would have been like, oh, well.
Kept their mouth shut.
Yeah.
Not said anything.
Is that not wild, though?
Yeah. That's a pretty amazing find to stumble upon.
Yeah.
But not just that. I think one of the really heartfelt moments of the article is she was saying that she was getting married, or she just got married.
Yes.
And she wanted China, or registered for China for her wedding, and she felt like this may be that couple's wedding China. Mm-hmm. And it turned out that it was. Mm-hmm. So just having that sentimental connection to it. And, like we were just talking about the fires, like things are replaceable, but sentimental things like that, you can't always get back.
Yeah.
So the fact that she was able to reunite the wedding China with the wedding couple from, many years prior, and do the right thing, and the right thing isn't always the easy thing.
No, not at all.
And sometimes it takes extra steps, and sometimes it takes a lot more work. But in the end, it's always rewarding to be a good person and be able to put your head on your pillow and sleep at night knowing that you did the right thing, regardless of what's happened to you or what somebody else, would do in that situation, knowing that you did the right thing.
Yeah. I just thought that was, first of all, it's not something you stumble upon
every day.
Yeah, first of all. But then hearing about it in the news, like, that's a positive thing. Yeah. Like, usually everything in the news is, depressing, doom and gloom, and, the fires out in California, or who got shot in New York, or who got mugged, So it might seem like an insignificant thing, but it just brought hope.
There's still a little good left in the world.
A little bit, better than none. Sometimes
I worry, like, for our kids' generation growing up, and
I can't.
Sometimes I think how hard it must be to be a child these days, and some of the things that we were talking about, where kids are arguing because they had a sleepover and somebody wasn't invited and they got offended, or you were talking about me and I know because you put it in your TikTok and I heard it, or we didn't have that growing up. We didn't have cyberbullying. If you had an event and you found out that somebody wasn't there because they were talking about it the next day at school, by the next day it blows over. You don't know about it real time while it's happening, and you're not, crying knowing that people are doing something and you weren't included. So I do feel for kids, because they have an extra layer of issues and problems that they need to deal with because of things that we didn't have. So, social media, cell phones, regular access and instant gratification to other people's lives, and the ability to be voyeuristic and know what everybody's doing at all times. So I do feel for kids that are kind of going through that. And
and speaking of like the whole bullying thing, my little one, poor kid, has been through the ringer. It's her and 2 other little girls who are like their core group friends. And I use the word friends lightly at this point because
on and off.
We'll get there. Anyway, there's been a lot of drama between one specific girl and my daughter and her other little friend, to the point where we were at a school function. Not last Friday, but the Friday before. Not yesterday. Yeah, a week ago yesterday. And there was just so much drama between them, to the point where my daughter came over to me hysterically crying over something that happened at the trampoline park. And my daughter and we're going to say friend A and friend B. My daughter and friend A came running over to me crying about what friend B did to them. And I was like, wait, what happened? And they tell me their version of the story. Then the other friend comes over and tells me her version of the story. And it's completely different than the story my daughter and her friend told me. So anyway, long story short, I said to all 3 of them, I'm like, listen, I don't care what happened. I said, y'all need to figure out a way to be nice to each other and be kind. You don't all have to be friends, but you all need to be kind to each other. I said, I'm tired of hearing she did this to me, she did this to her, this one did that one to this. It's not right. You're 8 years old. There's no need for this kind of drama.
Yeah.
Then my daughter and friend A stepped off to the side, and friend B says, I'm blocking them from my phone. I was like, that's fine. You can block them. You don't need to be friends with them. I said, but you need to be kind.
Yeah.
And I walked away. And then my daughter and friend A came over to me, and my daughter's like, Mom, I'm deleting her from my phone. I'm not going to be friends with her anymore. I said, listen, boo, that's fine. You don't want to be friends with her? That's fine. You need to be nice to her.
Right.
She's in your class.
Right.
You need to be nice. You need to be kind.
And so where's friend B's mom at this point?
Well, unfortunately... Oh, friend B. I had to think about that. I'm like, well, friend, and then I was like, no, we're talking about friend B. So friend B's mom was at the trampoline park with us.
And being a non-involved parent?
She tried to get involved, and then she found out that there was 2 different stories. She's like, I'm not getting involved in this anymore. I was like, are you kidding me? So I had to step in and
tell her child to be respectful and kind because her mom wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's annoying.
She actually later then reached out to me and said, hey, I'm sorry that our girls can't get along. I talked to my daughter and said, you need to be nice. I was like, yeah, well, I talked to your daughter too. And I said,
I told you that 5 hours ago.
Yeah, I was like, I don't care if you don't want to be friends with my daughter. That's fine. But y'all need to be kind. Like, I'm done with this. All 3 of these kids are in the same class, too.
It's going to be a long year.
So, ironically enough, my daughter's teacher reached out to me for something completely not related to this. So we talked about what we needed to talk about. And I said, hey, listen, by the way, has there been issues between my daughter, this person, and this one? She's like, oh, I've already seen that. I was like, oh, you have you? She's like, yeah. I was like, well, listen, I said, I know you have your hands full. I know you got a class full of 25, 30 little kids. I get it. I said, can you do me a favor and keep my daughter away from this person?
Yeah. She's
like, oh, I already do. She's like, I try to keep them as separated as possible. She's like, I don't need them interacting with each other. I was like, I get it. She's like, I've also gone so far as writing in your daughter's file. I do not suggest they are in any classes together. I was like, oh, did you really? I said, that's really funny. I said, because my daughter had said to me, Mom, if I'm in this person's class again next year, what are we going to do? I said, I will make sure you're not. Like, I will call the school and have you moved out of that class. She's like, oh, no. I already have it marked down that they should not be in the same class together, and I will 100% back you up on that. I was like, well, thank you.
Some of these teachers have, such good intel. They should be in the CIA. Yeah. They know what's going on in these kid groups.
Let me tell you, my daughter's teacher, she's a first-year teacher.
Is she?
She is I love her.
So she's young.
She's young. She understands the impact of social media these kids are under right now, which is awesome. But she's definitely involved. She's invested in these kids, which is really nice to see, because there's other teachers that my kids have had, and you can just tell, they're done, they're on the tail end of their career, and they don't want to be involved. And I'm like, So, but yeah, she was like, I got you. I got your back. I was like, thanks.
That's awesome.
So I love her, though. She's really good.
Yeah. No, I hope for your little one that she finds some peace, because she's a good kid, and I think she just genuinely wants to have fun and be accepted like all kids 100%. Do. And it's unfortunate when there's kind of that rotten apple that screws up the whole bunch of apples. So
yeah. And listen, I wish no ill will on the one child that's causing the issue. And I'm not talking bad about her at all. But whatever she's dealing with, it's manifesting in other ways. And it's impacting not just my daughter, but it's also impacting her and the way she deals with other kids in general. And that's heartbreaking.
And then to throw a monkey wrench into it, child B's sister is friends with your older daughter.
Oh, yeah.
So there's also that dynamic.
Well, and then, because that's not enough, she's also got a little sibling. She's got a little sister.
Yes.
And her little sister enjoys playing with my younger daughter, too. Yeah. So, like, they're all intertwined. And it's just, it's chaos. But hopefully they can get their shit figured out. You know, I try not to get too involved, you know, because I want my kids to be able to
resolve conflict.
Exactly. Resolve conflict on their own, stand up for themselves, stand up for what's right, you know, and stand up for their friends and have their friends. And listen, my daughter is a very self-sufficient, I mean, you know her.
Yeah.
She will stand up for what she
believes
needs.
in.
100%. She is not afraid to speak up for herself. But when she gets stuck in a position and she's feeling attacked, she has a hard time.
She gets emotional.
She's a highly emotional kid.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And it just gets to the point where she gets overwhelmed and she can't handle it. But she's 8.
I used to have a really hard time regulating my emotions. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that would happen to me is when I would get frustrated or I would get angry, I would cry.
And that's exactly what she does.
And I hated that because to me,
you felt weak.
Again, growing up in the home that I grew up in as a first generation American, crying was a sign of weakness. 100%. That was not okay. We don't cry.
Yep.
If we have a problem, we fix it. We don't have feelings. We don't talk about feelings. Mm-hmm. We don't talk to other people about our feelings. We just figure it out and we just carry on.
Yeah. And it's so not good though. It's not healthy to stuff those emotions down.
Yeah.
I'd rather her cry, get the emotion out, and then
deal with it.
Now we're going to fix this. We're going to deal with it. 100%.
So that's why whenever I'm with her and she starts to cry, I'm like, let's use our words. Let's talk through it.
I try to do that too with her.
Yeah.
100%.
So you can understand what you're feeling because, you know, when you see somebody crying, immediately you think they're sad.
Right.
But sometimes they're not. They're angry or they're frustrated or they're feeling unheard. Mm-hmm. So I think that's important that, you know, you're able to acknowledge what feeling I'm feeling, why I'm feeling this way, and how do I voice it. Mm-hmm. So
100%. Yeah, and she'll start crying and I'll say to her, boo, you're allowed to cry. I'm not telling you can't cry.
Yeah.
But you need to tell me what's going on. You need to tell me, why are we crying? What's causing the cry?
Yeah.
Are you hurt? Are you upset?
Right.
Are you sad? Like, you need to put it into words for me so I can help you.
Yeah.
You know, and we can fix what's wrong. But yeah, 100%. And it's heartbreaking to see her go through this at such a young age. But, you know, it's going to build character in her. That's for sure.
It's only getting worse. Mine's going to be 17 3 months from today. And the problems that we have in high school.
Yeah. Little people, little problems. Big people, big problems.
I would trade them for a bratty little 8-year-old in 3rd grade any day.
Yeah, I get it. It's crazy. It's definitely wild. And you know, what's even funnier, thinking about it, as you said, my oldest is friends with my daughter's friend of me's sister. Friend of me's sister. Yeah. To the point, my daughter, my oldest, and the oldest in that group, they got into a fight a couple years ago.
Right.
And now they're friends. Like, go figure. Like, it's wild. I'm like, you all need to figure this out because I can't deal with this.
Life changes. I always used to tell my daughter when she was little, is there any blood?
Yeah.
No. Are there any broken bones?
Mm-hmm.
No. I'm like, all right, go figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a serious problem, you come back to me. If there's no blood and there's no broken bones, I want you guys to hash it out.
Yep.
Figure it out.
Yep.
That's it. Be respectful, be kind, keep your hands to yourself.
Yes.
If anybody puts hands on somebody, come get me.
Then we throw down.
Yeah. Until then, yeah. I'm always that.
Throw down.
I have no problem. I'm like, the first boy that my daughter brings home, I'm going to like beat him within an inch of his life because I don't have a record, right? So I think they're going to, I think they're going to take it pretty easy on me. But going on from there, they're going to be like, don't mess with her. Her mom is crazy. And I'll be like, yeah, I am. And what? And I'm going to like start twitching.
Twitching my eye.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, and they'll be like, don't go anywhere near that girl's mom. Yeah, she just got out of the slammer.
You're going to be that mom.
That's going to be, I'm going to be that mom.
Oh, God, that's funny. Too funny.
Good times.
Yeah. What else you got for me? Anything?
All right, nothing. Getting ready to go to an event tonight.
Oh, yes, I'm doing your hair and makeup for you.
Yeah, you're going to beautify me. You see this? This is all natural. If there's anybody watching us on YouTube right now, all natural. So
but it won't be for long.
It won't be for long. We're going to, like, transition to like full glam mode.
What?
Yeah. So we'll take some pictures and stuff. So
yeah. We're doing hair. Am I going to recurl this for you
yeah.
and make it look pretty?
Yeah.
And, can we talk? So, I have the Bioionic long barrel 1-inch curling iron.
Yes,
right?
as do I.
Love my curling iron. Now, I have
20-inch.
20-inch extensions in my hair.
Yep.
I have 2 rows of 20-inch extensions. And I've been using my 1-inch, no problem. And I've gotten to the point where I realize, though I love my 1-inch, I don't love my 1-inch with my long hair. I love it with my shorter hair. Okay, great. So I've been telling you I wanted to get the 1 1/4-inch Bioionic long barrel. So you were doom scrolling.
I was researching. There's a difference.
Okay, you were
Mine was researching for a purpose with intent to buy. Yours is just to mindless scroll.
100%. I'll give you that. Okay. So you were doom scrolling and you found the Bioionic. I love you too.
Yes.
And you found the Bioionic 1 1/4-inch on some like fragrance.net or .org.
Yeah,
website.
random.
Yeah, random website. You sent it to me. You were like, oh,
it's half price.
It was half price. I was like, oh, okay, right. I said, if you're gonna order it, order me one too. So you're about to hit buy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, don't order it. Because we had gotten into a conversation. I'm like, sometimes Ulta and Sephora has it on sale. I jumped on my Ulta app, and I was like, oh my God, it's on sale. I was like, wait, don't buy it. I bought this curling iron. It's $150 iron, $22 out of pocket.
That's crazy. So you were telling me you have a bunch of Ulta rewards.
Yeah, so Ulta has the most amazing reward program. Like, I love their reward program to the point where I hate shopping at Ulta, but I love it. But all of my preferred products I get from Sephora. So I wish Sephora would implement this. So for every $1 you spend at Ulta, you get $1 in reward points, and you can bank your points.
For every $1 you get $1?
Every $1 you spend, you get a point.
Oh, a point. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And X amount of points you can convert into X amount of dollars.
Gotcha.
Now, I don't know how many points I had, and I forget what the threshold is, but I do know, for the record,
813,467.
Possibly.
It's ridiculous to have that many points. It had to be.
Well, for what it's worth, I'm also a platinum member at Ulta, so I get...
Shocker.
I know.
This is like brand new information. Can't believe it.
Newsworthy. No, so I get, I don't know, like triple the points, and my points acquire quickly.
True.
That too. Words are not my friend. So I saw that it was on sale, and I knew I had like $83 in reward points. And I was like, ooh, can I put it towards this? Sure as shit. $22 out of pocket. I was like, don't buy it, I'm buying it through Ulta. So I can't wait for it to come in. And I wish we would have done this a couple days earlier, so we would have had
it for today.
Yeah. But you have a 1-inch. I can make the 1-inch work, especially doing it on your hair as opposed to doing it on my hair. So you'll be fine. But I'm also going to do your makeup, and I'm so excited to do your makeup today because
you brought your makeup.
Well, not only that. So the last couple of times I've done your makeup, I've used your makeup because
it makes sense.
Makes
it's
sense.
At my house.
Yes.
It's my colors.
Yes. So one of my biggest pet peeves was you didn't have finishing powder. You didn't have a translucent powder. You didn't have a loose powder. You didn't even have a pressed powder.
I wasn't even like a real girl before I met you.
This is true. So I was at Sephora with my daughter, my little one, and it was really funny. I was like, oh, boo, we have to go get something. Because I had to return something, or I was buying something. I forget what it was. And while I was in Sephora, I was like, oh my God, Lena needs powder. I need to get her powder. So I said to my daughter, I'm like, boo, come on. I said, we got to go get a powder. She goes, for what? My daughter's big on makeup, you know this. And I said to her, I was like, oh, Lena needs it. She's like, she doesn't have any? And I was like, all right, judgmental. Like, she was like, what?
Judgy McJudgerson.
Oh, 100%. She's like, how does she not have powder, Mom? I'm like, I don't know. Ask her.
Why do you have powder? You're 8.
She has a whole makeup kit.
Yeah.
Girlfriend's good at doing her makeup, too. Like, it's scary. So I buy you powder, and I gave it to you. And you did your makeup just recently.
Yeah.
And you said to me today.
Yeah. I put the powder, so I did my whole face of makeup, and then I put the powder on, and I was like, I look so pretty. It like
It's a game changer.
it finished everything. It just kind of like smoothed everything out and just made it look so flawless. And I'm like, where has this been all my life? Like, I did not think it was going to make as big of a difference as it did.
Yep.
And I was like feeling myself.
Yep.
Yeah. So thanks.
You're welcome.
Goodbye. I appreciate ya.
Yeah, I got you. But I did bring my makeup too. So I have blush that's not expired.
There's no expiration dates on makeup. I'm pretty sure you're making this up.
There's no expiration date on spices.
No, actually, there are. It's on the spice bottle itself, and it says expiration date, and then there's a date.
And on makeup, it says 12 months.
I don't believe you. Open it. We're going to do this.
We're gonna hold, please.
Holding. One girl, two mics.
All right, let's look at the bottom of this soft sculpt bronzer by Makeup by Mario. It's just a bronzer, powder bronzer, right? What does this say? There is a little icon that says 24 months on the bottom, right? Yep, that means it's got a 24-month look.
It actually says 24M. It might be the type of metal that this container is made
No,
of.
it's 24 months.
How do we know
What
this?
does this say? Right there.
12M.
12 months. What does this one say? What's that one say?
18.
18 months.
My mind is blown.
This one doesn't.
Did anybody know this?
Yeah, apparently.
Did anybody but you know this?
What does this one say? Good luck reading that one. But what does that one say?
I don't know. It's in French.
24 months.
Huh? What?
That's eyeshadow palette. Here's another one. This one says, I don't know if that's 12 or 24. That's another pressed powder.
20.
Do you want me to keep going?
This is absolutely.
Do you want me to keep going?
Insane.
Concealer. I can't see it.
Did anybody know this?
This is either 12 or 24 months. Not sure. I can't see the bottom.
What?
Because it's so small. Here, eyeshadow glitter. 12 months.
Wow.
Do I need to keep going?
But they don't put the date that you actually have it. So I don't know how old some. I mean, some of the makeup was from
All
when I
of
got
the makeup
married
you
in
have, except for the
2007.
stuff that I've just recently bought you for your birthday, you've had since I've met you.
Yeah.
So everything you have, except for what you've just gotten for your birthday and whatever you've bought in the last 6 months, is expired.
Yeah. Expired. Expired. You see the commercial?
You're welcome. We will not be doing expired makeup tonight.
No, but we will be doing makeup, so.
But not expired makeup.
I can't wait to see how pretty Mickey looks.
It won't be expired.
Well, I feel like this is a really great PSA for our listeners.
To buy new makeup?
Yeah. Who knew? Go home and check your makeup packages.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now you know.
I know.
You're welcome.
Things you know.
On that note, do you have anything else? Now that I just completely threw you under the bus.
Nothing else. I hope everybody goes checks their makeup. I hope you go and check your spices, and I hope you throw out things that are no good for you. Oh, and I really hope if anybody ever cooks for somebody and brings them a dish and says you must bake this in the oven on 375 for 30 minutes, that you heed their warning because they may bring something over that's not cooked. And so,
care to elaborate on this one real quick?
Yes. I made a tray of my famous baked macaroni and cheese.
Which is really delicious.
Right, you can attest to. Thank you.
Yes, you can make me some.
For Mr. New Year's kids. And I wanted it to be fresh for them, so I didn't want to bake it at my house and then bring it to his house because he lives quite a distance away. So I baked it, I put it all together, I topped it, and I brought it there and I said, when you guys are ready to eat it, pop it in the oven for 30 minutes on 375. Made sure the kids understood, made sure he understood. So today I talked to him and he tells me that his daughter had it for lunch yesterday. And I'm like, lunch? I'm like, didn't she have school? And he's like, yeah. She came home from school and she had it. And I'm like, how did she cook it so quickly? And he's like, she just put it in the microwave. I'm like, but it wasn't cooked. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, the pasta was raw. I parboil it for 3 minutes so it doesn't overcook when it cooks in the oven. It was raw. You can't cook it in the microwave. And he was like, oh, let me ask her how she liked it. I'm like, don't ask her how she liked it. I'm like, I can't even face her now. Your kid ate raw pasta because of me? So yeah.
Did he ask her?
Yes, but I haven't heard back yet, so we'll have to follow up on that one.
we have to get an answer. I need to know.
Yeah.
I need to know.
We'll
I
find
need
out.
to know.
I'm like, I feel so bad this kid ate raw pasta.
I need to know.
And she's probably like, your girlfriend doesn't know how to cook, Dad. This is shit.
Now she's like, I don't like her anymore.
Yeah.
She can bring cookies, but she can't bring food.
She's done. Don't ever let her cook again. And my baked mac and cheese is fucking bomb.
It is really
Just
good.
saying.
Yeah.
So,
Can you make me some?
I got you, boo.
And can you make me a split pea soup, please?
Yes. See? I'm actually a pretty good domesticated bitch. I'm just saying. I'm a catch.
Just no potatoes.
I love potatoes. I made potatoes for breakfast today.
I had bacon
I
and
made hash
eggs.
brown potatoes. And then I made potato soup. I had bacon and eggs too with my hash browns. How could you have breakfast without potatoes? And I made potato soup this week.
To have breakfast without potatoes.
I made chili.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was like on a cooking bender.
You did do a lot of cooking this week.
Yeah.
Maybe you can do some cooking and give me some next week.
I got you, boo.
On that note, you got anything else?
That's it. Thank you guys for joining in and listening to us today.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and we can't wait to see you in the next one.
On Two Voices.
One vibe.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye.